Hey guys, so today we are outside. Beautiful day, by the way. It's the first day after Halloween, and I'm going to take advantage of the weather by installing a code alarm, which is right down there. It's a two-way alarm. I only have the one-way keypad for now, but I'm choosing this brand not only because it's a business class pro alarm, so I don't have to worry about it failing. It also Code Alarm is known for good alarms, and I can start out with the one-way keypad, and later on, if I want it, I'm at my mom's house, or I wind up back in Detroit again, I'll have the ability to go purchase a two-way keypad, and I won't have to do any more wiring. But the first thing, speaking of wiring, I want to show you guys is why knowing how to hotwire or steal a car comes in handy for legitimate reasons. I spoke to you guys in an earlier video about my hacking abilities, and how that's beneficial, because if you know how to hack something, you know how to protect your customers. But anyways, back on point here. So every car has a harness that hooks to the ignition. Somewhere in the vehicle, there's usually trim you have to pull. And the first step to actually installing an alarm is to find your lead wires. You can get a cheat sheet off the internet. Just Google your vehicle and type in stereo wiring, which will help you if you're putting a stereo in, or alarm wiring if you're putting an alarm in. And as I showed you in a previous video, how many wires there really are. These thick wires are just the remote start. Then you got all those tiny ones that go to various switches and stuff like that. So according to my diagram here, you have 12 volt constant, which is yellow, your ignition, which is red and green, and your starter, which is white and pink. So let me go ahead and prop you up here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this out. I don't have an assistant working with me today. So if you guys get this, good. If not, I'm sorry. But I'll just demonstrate. So I'm taking the yellow and connecting it to that green one, which that kicked on my dash lights to simulate that the key is turned on. After that point, to do your test to verify, you want to take your other hot, which in this case is yellow, and jump this to the book called for the white with the pink stripes. So if I got this correct, and that proves to me right there, so you pull the wire to kill it. So what that little bitty test right there just did is not only showed me which wires are that the diagram is correct, but if there was some type of pass key or factory anti-theft, it would have tripped the anti-theft on the dash, and it would not have started. Being that I do not have a key in here, this van does, my assumption was correct, it has keyless entry with audible tones. And what that means is when you take the factory, let me go over to the other side real quick. When you take this factory key fob, as you notice, I got a 4-button. That's the one that I got. I didn't pay anything for it. Mine usually has 3. But anyways, the trunk doesn't do anything, so it's kind of pointless. But what that means is I can lock, unlock, and panic, which will just throw into a panic. Now, if you look over there, you'll see my factory module. That is damaged. It's bad. So I want to get that replaced, because even this aftermarket alarm runs off that. That is the relays and everything all in one for the keyless entry. I probably could have dug around and found a factory, see there, I could have probably dug around and found a factory alarm, box brain, and just swapped it out, but it doesn't have remote start. So anyways, back to my point. I have the one-way keypad here. It's really neat because it's got a little flashlight in it. So we're going to start out with this, and then I'll be able to arm and disarm. Now, what I was just telling my wife that I want to do is interface this one. If I don't have this keypad, it doesn't matter. This one's going to do the same thing, act as the keyless entry to interface. But it will also be the alarm, which will, if somebody breaks in, go off, and it will also function as my remote start. But just say I lose this, I break it, I lose my key, something like that. I have 3 or 4 of these, because factory keypads are very easy to come by because multiple vehicles have them. So what I'm going to do in this instance, because this Pro Alarm has 7 trigger outs, where you can put window roll-up modules, pagers, whatever I could dream, defoggers, headlights, you name it. I'm going to try to interface this to where if I don't have this keypad and I hit lock and unlock on the standard keyless entry module, that trigger from that box back there will come up to the front alarm here and say, hey, wait, he just locked his doors, arm the system. And the same goes for the unlock. So this is just a brief intro to what I'm doing today, trying to take advantage of this weather and get this alarm in. So I'll be pretty much tied up all day today and maybe into tomorrow, because when I do an alarm, I install every feature that the alarm has to offer. And not only that, I play with each feature to make sure it's working. This alarm here will be another video. I'm saving this one. This is the one I was going to put in the van. This is also a one-way / two-way. And the reason I'm saving that is that has the blade card in it to bypass the onboard security. So if I get a newer vehicle, that'll be where that one will go. And then we'll have the neon, which is over there. We'll be putting a Viper in that. And I'm choosing Viper for that one just because I have a lot of keypads for it. It's two-way compatible as well. And Viper, their wiring is proprietary. So if I want to switch the brain later to a newer model, then I just unplug it. But this is the first time in an alarm install that I'm actually using these type connectors. And the reason why I don't like them, because they can get hot and melt right here. But the reason I like it is if I do decide to change this alarm later, I just buy new ends like this, or cut it here and splint it in on my new one. So it saves me from having to undo the ignition switch in the future. So again, I'm rambling, guys. This is only part one. We'll do more videos along the way, and hopefully by the time I'm done, you'll get a good idea of how an alarm actually gets installed, what goes into it, and why our price is what it is. There is a lot that goes into it. So we're strolling along here. As you see, I started putting the quick disconnects here. These two yellows are power running into the alarm and the remote start portion. The only thing I forgot about, some alarms tap into your ignition wire and some actually break it. Some boxes actually have the starter anti-grid. Usually I will put it on the coil, so the car will appear to turn if somebody hot wires it, but it won't catch. It's less discreet than if they turn the key, they know they're hitting the right wire and it's not starting, then they know to look for something like this and twist them together. Matter of fact, in the neon, it had a really old school alarm in it, and they still do it today, like this. So I mean, it took me seconds to pull the plastic down and put them back together. But like I said, what I would have normally did here is put a disconnect, you know, a male and a female, so if I ever take the alarm out, I could take and plug this one back into this one. But it's going along good. This is the first half, is getting the major wires, testing with a voltmeter, and tying them into the alarm where they go, respectively. Making excellent progress. We got the old school digital voltmeter I've had since me and Beth got reacquainted. We were high school sweethearts, but I got that from her the first night I gave it to her. Those of you know what I'm talking about, you know what's up with that. But yeah, I got that in 12 volt power supply. But anyways, so we got the larger harness here, tied into the, and then we are working on the other harness. And if you notice, I'm zip tying each one separate, just because when you put them all together, there's no I mean, they're going to go together when I'm done, but I like to keep each harness separated, so for troubleshooting later, I can cut one set of zip ties and both sets will be singular versus cutting one zip tie and everything being spaghetti. So if just in case I have to troubleshoot this later. Also, anybody who owns a 9090 Econoline, this connector right here, it's got the black and white, it's usually tucked up in here somewhere. This is the stock fob program. Every guide I found online says to turn the key on and off 6-8 times. Does not work on the 99s. You have to put a jumper in here and then just turn the key forward. Or turn the key forward, put a jumper in here, and it'll go do-do-do-do. And then you program your keypad. That's how I was able to program the one I showed you earlier in this video, that 4 button. Got a little bit of tunes out here. I just wanted to show you. We got all the larger wires on that harness nicely zipped together. A little bit of tape around it to kind of keep them together, just to make it look nice. And if you look, they're all nicely tied into the column. And if I decide to change them later, I just unplug it and push it back in when it's... So I can change this out at any time without cutting into my ignition wires. But I'm going to try to do this before my battery buddy, that little button down here, kicks off again. Because my battery's almost dead. It's getting dark and I've been using this homemade lantern that I just cooked up here. So I have to stop the project because the wires that go here on the back of this module are too short. As you can see, I did extend the ignition wires and they're all nicely tied in. Looks like spaghetti, trust me. But if you look right in here, you'll see that they're nicely tied in and then zip tied to that metal pole there. So all the ignition wires are removable but secure. And I'm trying to decide if on these, because there's like 28 or 32 wires that go into this harness here, if I want to get those type of connectors and butt connectors, or just solder them. So yeah, we'll find out how I plan on doing that, because that's a lot of wires. Lesson learned here on when getting them used: cut as much wire as you can and just buy the wire in one shot, because it's going to cost you more to extend them later. But so far it's going good. I'm quitting for the night, and I will do a part 2 on this video of the smaller wires. I did manage to get the horn wire ran. That ran over to here, and if we go like this, we can test it. There's the horn. And the parking light wires, which is that little connector right there. So I'm going to get some more of them. I'm pretty sure I like the way that conveniently installs it for removal, but I may go old school and just solder them into the car, because if you look through the light here, you can kind of see on the connector there. I don't know if you can see the blade going in that yellow connector right up there. It's just I'll show you the inside of it. I don't like the idea of just a little tiny piece of metal connecting the higher gauge wires. To me, it seems like it would get hot. But that's it for this video, guys. We'll do some more tomorrow.